Hey everyone, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com, and I am very excited to be sharing with you for our January 2014 Stampin' Gals Gone Wild Club. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a really great calendar project. Every year, it's tradition around here, always do a calendar project in January, and I am really pleased with how this one came out. I know in the video it's kind of hard to see, but it's actually an easel style. So I've got my calendar here and some post-it notes, which actually kind of help weigh this down as well. And I mean, let's face it, what desk does not need post-it notes? All right, we're going to go ahead and begin with our 4 1/4 by 11 inch Costal Cabana cardstock. I'm going to be bringing in my Stampin' Trimmer for this. Actually, I'm going to be using the scoring blade. You can use your scoring board as well, but we're going to be doing some other cutting, so I figure why not have it out, right? Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do some scoring here. Make sure you're using the scoring blade and not the cutting blade. Get that cutting blade. See that? Ooh, bad, bad. Let's move that out of the way. The scoring blade is the light color blade, so definitely make sure you've got the right one or you're whacking this cardstock in half. So I'm going to score at 5 inches. I'm going to score at 7.5 inches and at 10 inches. Let me move this out of the way, but like I said, don't let that cutter get too far because we're going to be using it a lot. Okay, so now we can just come in with our bone folder, and you want to give these score lines a really good hard crease. So let me get this last one here. We're ready to go ahead and put the easel part together, and see this little 1 inch flap here? We are going to use Tombow. Come on, glue. Because I really want to make sure things stick down well. So we're going to, you also notice I always keep the tip of my Tombow down on the cardstock. It keeps me from using too much. And there's a couple reasons I don't want to use too much. One, I don't want it gooping everywhere. And two, I want to make sure I just have the ultimate in control there. So you can see I'm just lining up my, the end of that piece of that, fold that we have going there. I can come in with a bone folder now, and I'm just going to give this a really good press. Make sure I've got that Tombow glue adhered down very well. All right, so you can see there's the base. I'm now going to take the 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch Costal Cabana. We're going to glue that on right here. And this one, you do have to kind of get your fingers in that area a little bit. Make sure you're good and glued. Let's I'm going to bring in some StazOn ink. This is the black, and I really am starting to fall in love with StazOn again. This part, of course, use whatever sentiment makes you happy. I'm using a stamp from the Trust God, and I'm just going to stamp that on my doily up here at the top. Okay, so make sure we're going to get that up at the top because we're going to be covering up some of this down here. So we're ready to adhere this onto the 4 by 5 1/4 inch black cardstock. And I'm just going to put some of our Tombow glue. Make sure you're staying just in the center of that doily. We don't want glue, getting on the actual lace part. That would look kind of weird. I'm going to adhere that down. And yes, I am hanging off the side there. I want that for a reason. We're just going to fold that down. And if you want to give it a little snail to hold it, you can. But it's fine. It's really going to be enclosed and you're not going to notice it at all. All right, we've got that done. Now let's go ahead and work on our calendar before we start putting things together. So I'm going to bring in a copy of what the printable calendar looks like. I want you to notice right here I have some really simple cutting directions for you, so you're not going to have to remember all that great cutting stuff. Let me bring in my paper trimmer again. And I'm going to move that scoring blade out of the way because now I want to cut. And you'll notice on my directions I'm telling you to start on the left-hand side, and we're going to cut this at 2 3/4 inch. Little tip for you, when you're using a paper trimmer like this, always start at the bottom and push towards your cardstock, or the edge right there. It makes such a difference. If you try to pull it, it wants to many times pull your paper. We don't want that, right? So always make sure you're pushing your blade forward. Okay, so you're going to do that with all 3 pieces, and yes, you're going to have a little scrappy piece there. Go ahead and put these in order, January, February, March, up there at the top. And what I love when I'm working with just copy paper is I can actually cut through all 3 of these at the same time. We're going to cut these down to 2 1/4 inches. And I don't have that in order because Connie's obviously not quite with it today. How about we're not going to start with March. Let's start with January. Ha! Okay, 2 1/4 inches right there. Cutting it. You can see it cut through all of those, just easy breezy. 2 1/4 inches. And 2 1/4 inches. And one more 2 1/4 inch. So you can see that wasn't so bad. That's a very easy way to cut. I can now start stacking these. So there is my calendar all ready to go. Now I'm ready to go ahead and adhere this onto that piece of Costal Cabana. I believe that was 3 1/4 by 2 3/4. You can see I've got my calendar all lined up, and I did put some paper clips on it because I want to make sure this doesn't shift around as I use it. You're going to use a crocodile, hole punch, whatever hole punch you normally use is just fine. And I'm going to punch 2 holes there in the upper corner. And then I'm going to be using some of our Candy Dot Brad bases. That's a mouthful. I'm going to go ahead and set this off to the side while I share with you how we're going to do the candy dots. Okay, now typically I would probably bring in the neutrals and do it in black because that's my color combination, but I'm going to share with you a tip in case you wanted to do a lot of these. I'm going to be using the Regals, and this is the Cajun Craze. I'm going to be honest, Cajun Craze isn't one of my favorite colors, and I was afraid I would never use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black Sharpie marker, and I'm just going to color right over that, and that way I now have plenty of black Brad bases of the candy dots to go with my project if I wanted to do these. For instance, I'm going to be sharing this with my local stamp club. Whoops, that just flung across the room. But I needed a lot of these, and it's a great way if you need one color. Of course, you can't do it with all colors, but it sure worked great with black. I'm just using my paper piercer to pick that up, to put it inside the, whoops, come here. Once you get it all centered up, give it a little press and you're good to go. So you're going to repeat that with 2 of the bases and your little dots. And we can now come in and put this together. Very simple. You guys know how to use brads, so this is not going to be rocket science here. So I've got those done, and that's going to be the all there is to it for the calendar. Let's remove my paper clips and I'm good to go. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. And you can use snail, but you know what? I've got my Tombow out and I'm using it, so why not keep going with it, right? So let me add that. I'm going to come back in with my base that I stamped and created. And we're just going to give that a nice press. Make sure all my corners are pressed down. Now, what I love about this calendar, when it's like this, when January's over, you're just going to come and yank that and pull that right off, and, you know, your February's right there waiting for you. Okay, that's all done. Let's go ahead and adhere this now to our calendar base. Can you see how quick this project's going to go together? We love that. All right, again, happy with the Tombow, but we don't want it oozing out everywhere. I'm going to come in with my calendar base, my easel base. The other thing I love about using Tombow is it does give me a little chance, little wiggle room. I can play with it, so if I need to move something around, if I'm not quite centered, I know I can come in and fix it. All right, I've got that part done. Looking good. Okay, we're going to start working on our flowers here. And I did do this for you. I hope it's okay. I have a piece of 2" by 5.5" Whisper White Cardstock. And as I said, I'm using 2 stamp sets. I'm using the Flower Shop Bundle, which is in our big catalog right now, and the Petite Petals Bundle, which is in your Occasions catalog. Now, both of these come with a matching punch, and you're going to need those punches. And so what we're going to do is come in, you're going to punch out your big flower, and then you're going to come in and punch out all of your petite petal flowers. So let me just punch a couple of those out, and then we're going to do a little work with these smaller ones. Oh, would you like to know your colors for this one? I'm using Costal Cabana, Blushing Bride, Wisteria Wonder, and So Saffron. You need 3 of the So Saffrons, 1 of the other colors, and then that Costal Cabana is your great big one. All right, so what I'm going to do is bring in a paper piercing mat. You're going to have all those flowers there, all of them, except your big one, just your little ones. You can use a scoring stylus. You can use that Sharpie marker, whatever. But you can see we're just going to give it a press. This is going to give us some great dimension with that flower. But like I said, whatever you have available on your desk, you're going to give those that nice little press there. And then I'm going to bring this back in. I've got all those flowers all ready for me, and I've got them on some mini glue dots. This Costal Cabana one, I'm going to show you my little trick here. These all need some great dimension. So I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of curl the edges of that Costal Cabana, and then I'm just going to give it a slight bend. See all the great, I think you can see that really gives it good dimension. I've got a dimensional on the back, and we're just going to adhere that one right here in the corner. And at this point, we're going to take all of these smaller ones, and I'm going to put, whoops. Oh, Connie's not paying attention. She needs more coffee. I need to do all the So Saffrons first. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't mess anybody up there. Let's start with this one. I'm going to kind of tuck it underneath a little bit and kind of give that a good press. Let me get this one. And I'm going to bring it over here on the side. You know, I think I'll bring that one up above. And one more, and that one's going to go right in the center of my Costal Cabana. Okay, let me kind of give those a nice little press. All right, we've got that. Now with those colored ones, I'm going to kind of pop them a little bit ski-wampus there off of that one. One more, and we are good. All right, at this point, you know, we can do some nice fluff, and you can make those look really awesome. I did want to add a little bling because it is Connie, and Connie wants bling. I'm going to use some of our rhinestones, and just with that paper piercer, I'm just going to very quickly add some rhinestones to the center of my flower. Now, if you don't have rhinestones, the Silver Dazzling Details also works great. I love that stuff. But rhinestones were pretty quick and easy today. So we're going to add those. And that part's done. The last part, very, very simple. I've got my 3.5 by 3.5 piece of basic black. I've got my Post-it notes. I'm going to peel that backing off, and I am going to tell you we do want to add a little bit of adhesive here. Post-it note is just not quite strong enough to hold on, so we can adhere that right there. Let me give that a good press. Now we're going to adhere this. Again, making sure I get all my little corners here. That looks like me in the morning. Okay, so let me come in and just adhere this into the center of my calendar, of my easel base. Again, what I love about the glue is I do have some flexibility to move that around. Now, I'm going to do one last thing, and I know this may not be something you guys will do, but I really like to come back in and stamp the Post-it notes. If you don't have time, don't worry about this, but I do have to tell you, it actually goes much faster than you think. I hope you guys liked today's project, and that's one that gets you inspired. And again, that Petite Petals is from the Brand New Occasions catalog. So, all right, come back. You know, Josie and I have got lots more videos waiting for you. And hey, before I go, can I just say again how much Josie and I truly appreciate you guys being a Stampin' Wild girl. We love you, and we hope you guys have a wonderful 2014. We'll see you in just a little bit with more videos.